Those 22 are actually taking part in this first stage of qualifying. Florian Brichay, JSB Competition, not here. Clashing event, I believe, this weekend for him. Jean-Laurent Navarro, JSB Competition, so he's also not here. The team down to just one car for the boss, Julien Brichay, who we will be talking about as the weekend goes on. Victor Davidovski, sadly, also not with us this weekend. The continuing COVID-19 restrictions in Macedonia means he's unable to travel once again, and also missing Gilles Colombani in one of the Team Claret Sport Peugeots. So if you did see an entry list with 26 names, you can file 4 of those names away. No Florian Brichay, no Jean-Laurent Navarro, no Victor Davidovski, and no Gilles Colombani. The good news is, however, that all 22, I'm just quickly doing the sums from my timing screen, are out on track. Nicolas Bart sporting a different colour scheme on the Come To You Audi this weekend, that blue colour scheme. It's difficult to see from this distance, but if you're able to get up close to Nicolas Bart's Audi RS3 LMS, you'll see that it's all the team names written inside that blue paintwork on the front wings of the car. So Nicolas Bart, already a race winner the last time we were in Belgium at Zolder. What can he do this weekend? And his teammate Sami Taoufik, in the wars this morning, didn't take part in the majority of free practice 2. The engine mount on the Audi broke, damaging the engine, and so the teams had to change the engine on the Audi, which means he'll start race 1 this afternoon from the back of the grid. Bart, though, quickest so far with a 2:51.769. Second quickest Pepe Oriola, a 2:51.869. And Dan Lloyd in the second of the Brutal Fish cars. Actually, as I'm saying that, Mike Halder goes P3 with a 2:52.069. Dan Lloyd P4, currently a 2:52.830. Whoa, and we catch Julien Brichay pirouetting the Peugeot and catching it. Julien Brichay, I said a moment ago we would be talking about, but I didn't think it would be for that reason. As Julien Brichay hard on the brakes at the bus stop as he goes up the start-finish straight beneath the commentary box. And the consistency over the last couple of years, TCR Europe in its current formats has been to Spa for the last couple of years, as Brichay, we'll see that once again, pirouettes the little Peugeot onto the tarmac runoff area at the bus stop. And so that will have flat-spotted his tyres, I dare say. And over the last couple of years, the consistency has been that an Audi has won race 1. It was Jean-Carl Venet 2 years ago, and Gilles Magnus last year, and a Peugeot has won race 2. Although on both occasions, it's been Julien Brichay at the wheel. So if it's true to form, it'll be one of the Come To You cars in race 1, and it'll be Julien Brichay in race 2. But I'm not taking any bets on that, particularly after Hondas have been quickest in both free practice sessions. And Mike Halder saying to me last night that it's the first time he's been to Spa, and really the setup on the Profi car Honda Civic just all over the place. The back of the car very, very loose, and so needing a setup change. And not only did that change happen, but the conditions this morning meant that Mike Halder, in almost a class of his own at the head of the field, but Honda's quickest in both free practice sessions. What can they do so far? Teddy Claret has gone quicker than Bart with a 2:51.457. Mikel Azcona in the number 96 Cupra has gone P3. But of course, this first stage of qualifying is all about the top 12. So let me run through those names for you, and then let's start looking behind the top 12 at some of the names that really need to improve. There is Sami Taoufik with the new engine. Now, if he can qualify P9, P10, then he can more or less write off his first race because he'll be starting from the back of the grid. But in race 2, he'll have an extremely strong position. Now, there's the timing screen on the left side of your screens. Mehdi Benani having just gone quickest with a 2:48.771. So times now plummeting as we go through this first 20-minute session of qualifying. And let's run through the names for you then. Top 12 at the moment: Mehdi Benani, Nicolas Bart, Sami Taoufik, Audi's 1, 2, 3 currently. Then Pepe Oriola and Dan Lloyd, Brutal Fish Hondas. Matteo Homola, P6. Teddy Claret, P7. Michael Avkanar drops to P8. Then Mike Halder, Jimmy Claret, Tom Coronel, who hopefully we'll see in a sec, and Danny Nage in the BRC Racing Hyundai i30N, currently in 12th. Outside the top 12 at the moment: Andreas Beckman, Julien Brichay, Jessica Beckman, John Filippi, Manu Sapag, who made his debut in this year's series a fortnight ago in Barcelona, Michal Halder, Evgeny Leonov, Martin Rieber, Nicolas Baldan and Stefan Vontage. There is Taoufik again, P3 currently. But the gaps at the head of the field already quite large, over a second between first and second. So Mehdi Benani just over a second quicker than Nicolas Bart. There is Taoufik, who's just gone green in his first sector, and Bart has gone purple in his first sector, so they're potentially about to improve this lap. Looking down the order: Sapag green in sectors 1 and 2. He's just done his best lap, in fact, a 2:52.364. And Tom Coronel having dropped down the order. He's currently in the last of the positions that will go through to Q2 in 12th. Danny Nage edges out of the top 12. Nage currently in the pits. So just coming out of the pits: Teddy Claret, Michael Avkanar, Tom Coronel just coming out. Danny Nage is still in currently. Andreas Beckman just coming out. So who needs to improve? The position in the points, by the way, with 2 race weekends remaining. Dan Lloyd, I mentioned at the beginning of the session, having led the Drivers' Series for much of the year. That all changed in Barcelona. No points for Dan Lloyd. So Mike Halder, double race winner, currently leads on 198 points. 13 points clear of Mehdi Benani. Nicolas Bart is third, 8 points behind his teammate. And Dan Lloyd has dropped to 4th. So 25 points covering 1st to 4th. 90 points on offer, remember, from a race weekend. So not over by a long shot. 10 points up for grabs for pole position in qualifying, and then 40 points for each of the 2 races. And we have in the past had clean sweeps of all the points being scored by one particular driver. Fastest in qualifying and race winner in both races. Not sure if that's likely to happen in Spa this weekend, but the Audis, you would have to say, particularly from the early times, are laying down a bit of a marker. Benani still P1, Taoufik P2, Pepe Oriola now is splitting the 3 Audis in P3, and then it's Bart P4. So there is the quickest man on track so far, Mehdi Benani with a 2:47.367. Quickest on his 3rd flying lap. Then Taoufik with a 2:47.571, so just over 2 tenths between those 2 Audis. Then it's Oriola, Bart, Lloyd P5, Sapag's improved to P6, Homola, Claret, Teddy, Michael Avkanar, Mike Halder, Jimmy Claret and Tom Coronel are in the remainder of the points, or remainder of the positions, excuse me, going through to Q2. Danny Nage still tantalisingly outside, but back out on track currently. P13, Danny Nage, Andreas Beckman, Julien Brichay, currently in the pits, getting his tyres changed. And both the ladies, Jessica Beckman and Michal Halder, together with John Filippi, Evgeny Leonov, Martin Rieber, Nicolas Baldan and Stefan Vontage, currently outside those top 12 places. But currently, all of the top 4 in the driver's standings will, at the moment, as things stand, go through to Q2. Mehdi Binani, currently second in the standings, is quickest so far. Mike Halder is P10. Nicolas Bart is P4. And Dan Lloyd is P5. So all 4 of those will go through. Incidentally, in the team's standings, Come To You, surprisingly enough, leading. Come To You, 425 points. Brutal Fish, thanks to Dan Lloyd and Pepe Oriola, both winning races. Second currently, 348 points. Profikar Halder, 3 wins for them, 2 for Mike, 1 for Michel, 320 points. BRC Racing move up into 4th, 319 points. Target Competition still 5th with 300. So those 5 teams separated by 125 points currently. There is Jessica Beckman. Huge disappointment for her in Barcelona a fortnight ago. The Target Competition team on track for a 1-2-3 finish in race 2, but an incident that was off camera between Jessica, who was second, and John Filippi in third, eliminated Jessica, and Filippi picked up a drive-through for his part in the incident. So an all-Target Competition Hyundai top 3 was ended by that incident, and Jessica will be hugely keen to just lay a bit of a marker down this weekend on what she is capable of doing, as will John Filippi. Filippi currently P17, goes across the timing line, and Filippi immediately improves to P4. So John Filippi, having moved up into the top 12, and the driver who suffers is Jimmy Claret. Claret and Coronel, in fact, drop out of the top 12. So Mike Halder is the man in the most dangerous position currently, P12. So anybody improving will nudge out our championship leader. Mikel Azcona improving as well. His quickest sector 1 time, and then throwing it all away in sector 2. But Azcona, having gone from TCR Europe champion in 2018 to WTCR, a race winner in that series, and so he was at the opening round, it seems a long time ago now, at Le Castellet, where he was coaching Evgeny Leonov. Oh, a little bit twitchy for Tom Coronel in the Honda. And Coronel driving 2 different cars in the 2 series, the Audi RS3 LMS in Come To You colours, the DHL racing colours in WTCR, and then the Boutsen Gignon Honda Civic in TCR Europe. And I mentioned that Azcona was in Le Castellet, as was Coronel, but Azcona was there coaching, Coronel was competing. But since then, Coronel has become a race winner in WTCR, took his first win in the series in the Slovakia ring in the Audi. What can he do in the Honda? Coronel's just set his best lap of 2:49.790 to go back into the top 12. Azcona is 9th currently, Coronel 10th. Andreas Beckman is P5. Danny Nage has also gone into the top 10, which means that Mike Halder, I said, was in the most dangerous position of all, was 12th, now down in 16th. Both the Clarets also outside the top 12, as is Mato Homola, as is Julien Brichay. And Jessica Beckman, I said, was outside the top 12. She's now P9 currently. A little over a minute of this Q1 to go, but the track improving right the way through this 20-minute session. A 2:45.155, the best time now for Mehdi Binani on his 5th lap. John Filippi improves again to P3. So it's Binani and Taoufik in the 2 Audis. Then it's Filippi, Oriola, Homola, Andreas Beckman, Nicolas Bart, Manu Sapag, Dan Lloyd, Danny Nage, Jessica Beckman and Mikael Azcona, and Coronel, no sooner does I say that he was in the top 12, he's back out. So what can Coronel do? Green in sectors 1 and 2 for this very likeable, I hate to say it, 48-year-old Dutchman. One of the most charismatic drivers in the paddock. And he improves to P4. So Coronel, right at the closing moments of this session, improves to P4. And that means Mikael Azcona gets squeezed out. Jessica Beckman also being squeezed out by Andreas Beckman. Dan Lloyd and Danny Nage must be slightly concerned. Coronel set the best sector 2 time of all in that session, in that last lap. And with a line like that, Jimmy Claret's not going to improve his time. He'll finish outside the top 12. Checkered flag has fallen, though. Mehdi Benani and Sami Taoufik have both taken the checkered flag. Andreas Beckman has improved to P3 ahead of John Filippi, the 2 target competition Hyundais. Then Coronel out P5. Then Mike Halder, then Pepe Areola, then Mato Homola, then Nicolas Bart, Manu Sapag, Dan Lloyd and Danny Nage. But Lloyd has just been bumped down a further position to 12th. He's just set his best sector 1 time. And looking down the order, Teddy Claret has taken the checkered flag, as has Baldan. Julien Brichay won't go through, nor will Jimmy Claret. Martin Rieber, currently P19's just set his best sector 1 time, as has Leonov. So Dan Lloyd gets squeezed out of the top 12. However, Dan Lloyd is on a flyer. So we can pick up Dan Lloyd on this final lap of the session. Dan Lloyd currently P13, but he's green in sector 1, purple in sector 2. Mato Homola doesn't improve. He takes the checkered flag and is currently P11. Nicolas Bart P12. But where is Dan Lloyd? And there he is, having just squeezed back in right at the end of the session. Dan Lloyd goes P3. So 3 different cars in the top 3 positions at the end of this first stage of qualifying. Let's take a look then at Mike Halder, currently P10. And it would appear that he is safely through to Q2. Pretty much everybody has taken the checkered flag apart from Azcona and Andreas Beckman, neither of whom have set particularly quick sector 1 times. So, as you were, Mehdi Benani, John Filippi and Dan Lloyd are our top 3 at the end of Q1, with Mike Halder, Sami Taoufik, Pepe Areola, Tom Coronel, Andreas Beckman, Danny Nage, Manu Sapag, Jessica Beckman and Mato Homola in the remainder of the top 12 positions. Now, this long lap, this 2.5 minute, 2 3/4 minute lap, they now have to get back round, change tyres and get back out for this little sprint, which is Q2. Let's get confirmation, though, of the result of the first stage of qualifying here at Spa-Francorchamps. Mehdi Benani quickest, ahead of John Filippi and Dan Lloyd. So it's Audi, Hyundai and Honda. Then Mike Halder, Honda, Sami Taoufik, Audi, Pepe Areola, Honda, Tom Coronel, Honda, Andreas Beckman, Hyundai, Danny Nage, Hyundai, Manu Sapag, Hyundai, Jessica Beckman, Hyundai, and Mato Homola, Hyundai. Outside the top 12, Nicolas Bart, he will be extremely disappointed with that. Mikael Azcona and Teddy Claret. And then further down the order, there is that Leon Competition I was telling you about of Nicolas Baldan. Julien Brichay, that'll be a huge disappointment to him. Jimmy Claret in another of the Peugeots, then Martin Rieber, Michel Halder, Evgeny Leonov, and right at the back of the field, Stefan Vontager. So let's just take a quick look back at that Q1. in terms of highlights, as the cars will be heading back into the pit lane to get fettled ready for this Q2 to decide the grids for both our TCR races here at Spa-Francorchamps this weekend. So we saw Julien Brichay pirouette at the bus stop. We also saw Sami Taoufik, I think it was, get it all squirrely going into the hairpin at La Source at turn 1, suggesting just how slippery things are here at Spa-Francorchamps. There is Michelle Halder's car on the left of your screen. She won't be taking part in this second stage of qualifying, but both of the Hyundais there will be. Just looking down the order, 2 Audis, 4 Hondas, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Hyundais have made it through to Q2. There is Mikael Adkona. Didn't take part in free practice 1 yesterday, and the car needed a steering rack change, but he seems chilled enough. Extremely likeable young man from Spain, and the hopes of Cupra Racing very much on his shoulders now, and in the past they've always supported Spanish drivers. So there's Jordi Genet, still a brand ambassador for Cupra, and Pepe Oriola, of course, did the TCR International Series in the Lukoil Seat Leon, as it then was. But Mikael Adkona, the latest Spanish TCR driver, having made it up to WTCR and holding his own, you have to say. And I talked about the fettling that was taking place. There is Annette, jogging down the pit lane. Fingers crossed she'll catch up with somebody very shortly. So if you're just joining us, we are already 2.5 minutes or thereabouts into this second stage of qualifying at Spa-Francorchamps. The clock ticking down already at the top of your screen. 12 cars then having gone through from Q1. Mehdi Benani, John Filippi, Dan Lloyd, Mike Halder, Sami Taoufik, Pepe Oriola, Tom Coronel, both Andreas and Jessica Beckman, Danny Nage, Jose Manuel Sapag, known as Manu, and Mato Homola. But Julien Brichay, having won last year and the year before here in Spa-Francorchamps, didn't go through. We saw him spin at the bus stop during Q1, and his bitterly disappointing year, it has to be said, continues, as already out on track is Mehdi Benani. Only 3 cars, in fact, having gone out. Sami Taoufik, Jessica Beckman and Mehdi Benani are on track. So Benani then comes up to the finish line to set a time. And indeed, out they come. Mike Halder now on track. Pepe Oriola, Dan Lloyd coming out on track as well out of the pit lane. And so Mehdi Benani on his first flying lap. Okay, let's talk to one of Benani's teammates. Nicolas Bart is down in the pit lane with Annette.
Nicolas Bart out of Q2. It means P30 for both races. It's definitely not so much reach. It's definitely not the result we wanted to reach.
Yeah, of course, yeah. For sure, I'm a bit disappointed because yesterday I think we were quick on the dry. Here today was a bit tricky with the condition for sure. We had to ride with slick tire in front and rear rain tires. So yeah, it could have been better for sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Disappointment then for Nicolas Bart on pole in Zolder, one race won. Not going to happen in the team's second visit to Belgium in this year's TCR Europe. There, though, is his teammate, Mehdi Benani, purple in Sector 1. And just coming up on traffic, so what can Mehdi do? And all 12 cars now out on track, unsurprisingly, halfway through this 10-minute short Q2. And everyone's on their first flying lap, so at the moment we've only got Benani's times to talk about. Purple in Sector 1, purple in Sector 2. Using every inch of the track, Mehdi Benani, the experienced Moroccan driver, team leader for Come To You, coming around the bus stop then and up to the timing line to set the first representative lap time of this session, with only a little under 4 minutes of the session remaining. So at 2:43.157 is Mehdi Benani's time. There is Sami Taoufik, having done his best sectors, P2, a 2:45.722. So that's 2.5 seconds slower than his teammate and fellow compatriot, Mehdi Benani. Lots of green on the timing screen, not a great deal of purple. In fact, it was Mehdi Benani, purple in sectors 1, 2 and 3. A brilliant lap from Benani. P3 goes Jessica Beckman, a 2:47.678. 4.5 seconds slower than Benani. Underlines just what a lap Mehdi Benani had. There is Mato Homola in the BRC Hyundai. Homola green in Sector 1, but something like half a second down on Benani already. And there's some more purple at last. Dan Lloyd, green in Sector 1, purple in Sector 2. Dan Lloyd not having qualified on pole so far this year, but one race won in Le Castellet and led the series right up until the previous round at Barcelona. So what can Dan Lloyd do? Heading through the bus stop now. He will have one last lap if he can't topple Benani this time. Dan Lloyd crosses the line and goes P1. Dan Lloyd, 0.02 of a second quicker than Mehdi Benani at 2:43.157, beaten immediately by Mike Halder at 2:43.116. So, Mike Halder, 0.02 quicker than Dan Lloyd, who in turn is 0.02 quicker than Mehdi Benani. Wow! Honda, Audi, currently. So, Mike Halder, Dan Lloyd, Mehdi Benani, Pepe Oriola is P4 with a 2:43.279, then Sami Taoufik, then Jessica Beckman. Mato Homola goes P5 with a 2:44 and immediately beaten by John Filippi, a 2:44.317, Homola's 2:44.934, so nearly 2 seconds separating first to sixth so far, and we're still waiting for. And Sami Taoufik goes P1. Sami Taoufik, a 2:43.070. 46 thousandths of a second quicker than Mike Halder. So an Audi potentially on pole for Sami Taoufik, but remember, he will be starting the race from the back of the grid because of the engine change. There is Jessica Beckman, the blue highlights on the target competition Hyundai. She sets a 246.681, excuse me. Times now in from everyone apart from Danny Nage. Green in both sectors 1 and 2, and Danny Nage just crosses the timing line to go P9. Dan Lloyd improves in sector 1. So the checkered flag has fallen. What will happen in the dying moments of this qualifying session here at Spa-Francorchamps? Sami Taoufik, quickest so far, from Mike Halder, Dan Lloyd, Mehdi Benani, Pepe Oriola, Manu Sapag, John Filippi, Tom Coronel, Danny Nage, Matto Homola, and then the two Beckmans, with, as things currently stand, Homola on pole for race 2 tomorrow, and it'll be Mike Halder, because of Taufik's penalty, who will be on pole for race 1 today. Lloyd goes quickest of all in sector 2. Neatly through the bus stop. Doesn't look particularly quick, but we'll see in a moment whether Dan Lloyd has done enough. Dan Lloyd has pole position right at the last dying moments of the session. However, Manu Sapag has gone purple in sector 1. So Dan Lloyd pips Sami Taoufik and Mike Halder, whereas Mehdi Benani has just gone green in sectors 1 and 2. There is Taoufik, also green in sectors 1 and 2. This is going to be interesting. So he comes through Blanchimont, hard on the brakes for the chicane at the bus stop. Oh, and no, elects to go for the pit lane. John Filippi, I mentioned, having picked Dan Lloyd while we were looking at Taoufik, and Mehdi Benani's gone quickest of all. Benani now quickest. Coronel improves to P2. So Mehdi Benani currently on provisional pole from John Coronel, John Filippi, Andreas Beckman, Dan Lloyd P5, which means he'll be the middle of the grid for both races. Taoufik tumbles to P6. How things have changed in just a couple of minutes. Then Manu Sapag, Mike Halder P8, then Pepe Oriola, then Matto Homola, then Danny Nage and Jessica Beckman, who's just crossed the timing line and taken the checkered flag. So the two cars still out on track are Danny Nage and Mike Halder, neither of whom are setting the timing screens alight. So that looks to be it for qualifying ahead of this first race of TCR Europe in Spa-Francorchamps. Mehdi Benani on pole for race 1. He was on pole in Monza, couldn't translate that pole into victory, but what can he do here in race 1 this afternoon? Mehdi Benani will start alongside Tom Coronel on the front row of the grid with John Filippi and Andreas Beckman. Dan Lloyd starting alongside Sami Taoufik on row 3. Row 4 will be Manu Sapag and Mike Halder. Taoufik, excuse me, will be dropped to the back of the grid, remember. And so it will be everybody from Sapag backwards that will move up a place. Mike Halder, Pepe Oriola and Matto Homola on pole for race 2 tomorrow. And losing out, Danny Nage and Jessica Beckman. So a drying track. So times tumbling throughout both those sessions. You can see the line coming down past the old pits through Eau Rouge and up Radillon. In this, the most historic, the most iconic of all the racing circuits. The long, long history of Spa-Francorchamps going all the way back to 1921. If you've never been here, trust me, it's one of those circuits that you have to tick off your to-do list. Highlights then of qualifying 2 here at Spa-Francorchamps to decide the grid for both race 1 today and race 2 tomorrow. Mehdi Benani will start from pole for the second time this season. Behind Mehdi Benani, Tom Coronel, John Filippi, Andreas Beckman, Dan Lloyd, Sami Taoufik, Manu Sapag, Mike Halder, the new series leader. So, excitement awaits for both of our races. Fingers crossed we'll have the pleasure of your company for race 1. Our coverage starts at 4:40 Central European time this afternoon.